guys, so the last time we met, the Spencer family recognized that a storm was brewing. Well, what I want us to do today is to look at what happens when they're actually in the storm shelter. That's the name of the story today, in the storm shelter. I also want to practice writing complete sentence answers and looking back in the text to find our answers with you today. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be partner A and, read the story first. But before we do that, I want us to preview just a little bit so we know in this story there's going to be cracks and booms. So all kinds of sudden, sharp, deep, loud sounds are going to be going on. There are going to be gusts, which means blows strongly for a short time. Sounds like wind to me. We did say there was dark clouds and wind in the last one. But yes, let's go ahead and actually read in the storm shelter together, and then we're going to answer some questions about the story in your cap. We're going to work through this together. When we are done doing this together, you will it's going to have to be two pictures because in your book it's front and back. You're going to take pictures to turn in the work that we do together. Your answers and my answers should be the same. That's what together means. All right, so let's go read the story. Come on. All right, so here we are with our reader Grace. As I said, we're going to read in the storm shelter together. So turning to the table of contents, we want to locate the title, In the Storm Shelter. Oh, there's the word in. Okay, looking good. Storm shelter. All right, this begins on page number 36. All right, so let's go ahead and flip the pages until we get to page number 36. Oh yeah, they were in the storm shelter. All right, here we go. Let's read together. The Spencers are down in their storm shelter. Outside the shelter, the storm has started. The wind gusts. Thunder cracks and crashes. Down in the shelter, the Spencers can't tell how bad the storm is. But the Spencers will be safe down in their storm shelter. Their storm shelter can stand up to strong storms. When the thunder booms, Jill grabs her mom's arm. I expect it, she says, but still it scares me. Her mom hugs her. Oh, look at her being comforted by her mom. That's nice. All right. Well, just looking at the picture, looks like the storm is cleared up. Let's check it out. When it sounds like the storm is finished, Mr. Spencer peeks out. It's safe, he says. The Spencers step outside. Mr. Spencer checks the barn. It is fine. Grace and Jill pick up some pots that were knocked off the porch by the wind. Things look to be in good shape, says Mr. Spencer. Good, Mom says. Let's sit down and finish our picnic. They certainly love them some picnics. But guys, that title tells us that we need to skirt. That's the end of this story. So, the storm passed, the Spencers are fine, and we are ready to go answer some questions about in the storm shelter. So, come on. All right, so now that the story in the storm shelter is fresh in our brains, we are ready to, on page 14.1 in our cat book, we're on page 14.1, answer questions about the story. Because what's been making me nervous lately, guys, a lot of you have been ignoring when I ask for the page number, which are telling me that you don't know the answer, and it's scaring me a little bit, to be perfectly honest with you, because if I'm asking questions about a story and asking for the page number, that means it's in the story. So the first question says to us, why are the Spencers down in the storm shelter? Well, I know I just read it, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to look back in the book at the story, this book you had, and I'm going to read to find out. And look what the very first sentence says. The Spencers are down in their storm shelter. Outside the shelter, the storm has started. So why are they in their storm shelter? Because there's a storm. There's a storm. And what page is that on? 36. So now that we have this information, let's make a complete sentence answer. The Spencers Spencers are down in the storm shelter because a storm has started. Period. And that we got that from page 36. I literally just copied it out the book. The Spencers are down in their storm shelter. Outside the shelter, a storm has started. Why are the Spencers down in the storm shelter? The Spencers are down in the storm shelter because a storm has started. So writing complete sentence answer means you copy words from the question to make it make sense and you provide the answer. If I'm looking at your answer to the question, I should know what the question was. The Spencers are down in the storm shelter because a storm has started. And that's on page 36. I know I'm going fast right now, a little bit fast right now. Don't stop. Nope. If you're not keeping up writing this, it's okay. Because at the end, I have to stop. Focus on the process. Focus on participating and answering the questions more than you are making sure you write down the answers. I'd rather you know the answers than write down the answers. That kind of sounds a little bit confusing. A lot of times there are words that we don't necessarily know all the letters to, and if you're sitting here trying to spell stuff instead of thinking about what the actual answer to the question is, you're missing half the activity, honestly. So don't stress. Now, by the time it's all said and done, you need to have this written down, but there will be opportunity for you to do that. There's going to be opportunity for you to do that. Now, the next question reads, what did Mr. Spencer see when he peeked out from the storm shelter? What did Mr. Spencer see when he peeked out from the storm shelter? Now, we're going to look back in the book again because this is how you find answers, especially if it tells you you're going to need a page number. But before we do that, what did Mr. Spencer see when he peeked out from the storm shelter? When Mr. Spencer peeked out from the storm shelter, he saw, we haven't even said any new words yet. Those are just the words I got out the question. Those are just the words from the question. And we look and we see when it sounds like the storm is finished, Mr. Spencer peeks out. So he peeks out, he looks, he checks, and he sees that things look to be in good shape, says Mr. Spencer. So when it sounds like the storm is finished, Mr. Spencer peeks out. And he says that things look to be in good shape. And all of that is found on page number 38. That's on page 38, which means Mr. Spencer sees that the storm has finished and it is safe when he peeks out from the storm shelter. Period. On page 38. Now, did it word for word say this? No, it was split into two pieces. There was the piece about he peeks out. So we knew it was on that page because the very first sentence told us that he peeked out. And later on down in the page, it tells us that he says everything looks safe, which gives us our final answer. So now we have a third question. Describe what you do when it storms. Is this about the Spencer family or yourself? This is about yourself, which means there's no way you don't know this. You know what you do. You know what you do. I know what I do. What do you do when it storms? So we're going to start answering this question by writing. When it storms, what do you do when it storms? When it storms, what do you do? So when it storms, like a storm like they had going on, which is a tornado, I would be sitting in the bathroom, not on the phone, and the reason because I told you I grew up in the Midwest. So in the Midwest, they teach us this very, a lot. There's not just one or two drills a year in the hallway. No, you want to go into the most interior room of your house, no windows. Ideally, it's a bathroom because bathrooms have stronger walls because of the piping for the water, and you all want to sit in the empty bathtub. That is best case scenario in this kind of storm. But if we're taking into account the kind of storms that we have, Thunder and lightning type storms are more common here. You might do something a little bit different. You definitely stay inside. I know if it's raining good, I'm going to sleep. That's my favorite thing to do when it when it rains good. So when it storms, I go to sleep. When it storms, I read a book. When it storms, I chill out. All these things could be true. When it storms, I well, definitely you try your best to stay safe. Everybody's trying to stay safe. That's yeah. So so I'm gonna write from my perspective because it says I. What do you do? Well, when it storms, I myself, this is what I do. When it storms, I like to take a nap. When it storms, I like to take a nap. That is what I like to do. Because honestly, I like the sound of the, thunder rumbling. I find it like kind of rain falling. It's soothing, makes me sleepy. But also, I'm not trying to play on my phone. I'm not trying to have the TV on. I'm not trying to, running a lot of electricity and power that could cause power surges and things. And remember, I'm answering this question based on rain and thunder, lightning storm, not tornado storm. Because that's not the kind of storm that we have here too terribly often. It has happened before. A couple years back, there was some, a tornado came through and did some serious damage to some schools on the east side of Greensboro. But it's not a very common occurrence around here. We're more likely to get some remnants of a hurricane than we are to get some issues from a tornado. But guys, yes, these are the types of complete sentence answers with page numbers that you should be providing. This is a shorter version of a complete sentence answer. Notice I took these exact words from the question and I put them in my answer. That's making a complete sentence to answer a question. Describe what you do when it storms. When it storms, I like to take a nap. Yes? Yes. When it storms, I like to take a nap. Okay, good job. So, this would be a good spot to pause because I'm about to erase these few words and get us on out of here. No, I'm going to leave it up. I don't need that. Okay. Your job with this information, like I said at the beginning, you are to turn in. Yours is front and back. I just put both sides up so you can see it at the same time. You are turning in. It'll end up being 2 pictures. Your complete sentence answers with page numbers to the questions on page 14.1. That is how we're going to end this today. But guys, that is all I have for you. I cannot wait till I see you next time. And until then, bye. Oh, wait. After credits. Oh my gosh, your spelling test. If you didn't do that already, you probably should. It is Friday after all. Your spelling test, Unit 6 List 3, that was also today. Okay, but now for real, that's all I have for you. But guys, I'll see you next time.